Paris wrap-up video or recap. There were a lot of questions asked. I'm going to try to hit most of those. If I forget your question, there were a lot of videos and a lot of questions. If I forget your question, or if you have a new question, just leave it in the comment below. First of all, thank you so much again for watching the videos. I never expected to get such a great response from them. When I went to Paris, I had no plan of how I was going to do this. I was thinking I would just edit a couple of clips together and do one, 15-minute video on the trip. But when I got home, well, there you go. First disclaimer here, or only disclaimer about the whole thing, is that I didn't do all that editing in Paris. Number one, and most importantly, I would never tell you exactly which days I was going to be out of town. That's just like telling the internet, come rob me blind, I'll be gone for 10 days out of the country, So I would not have done it that way, just for safety purposes. Number two, the internet in the apartment, normally it's very slow. This year it wasn't, but usually it's really slow, so I would have never been able to upload. Number three, I would have never had the time. Those videos took me an hour to an hour and a half every single evening, sitting in bed to edit together. I loved doing it, but it was quite time consuming. I wouldn't have had the time or the energy to do that in Paris. Number three, I didn't take my laptop with me. I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, if I take my laptop, I'm going to be downloading pictures every night, and I'm going to be looking at them, and I just didn't want to have that burden on me. I just wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to spend time with my family and my husband and not worry about any of that. I didn't even look at the videos or the pictures until I got home, and that's how I chose how to upload. When I got back the next day, I plugged my camera in. I looked at I would look at my camera once in a while and go, okay, yeah, that picture looks good. That's the extent of it. I didn't sit at home and flip through them all or anything like that. But the first night when I did, or the second night we were home, I was kind of still tired, but I plugged my camera and downloaded all the pictures. Well, iPhoto put them in, downloaded them in days, like day one, day two, on the date. So I thought, oh, why don't I just do that? It was already organized for me, so I could just do a little 10-minute video each day for y'all. So that's how that ended up happening. Although what was interesting is I didn't change the time, the clock on my camera when I went to Paris. So sometimes I would be editing a day, and I would be looking at it, and I figured out the day switches 6 hours. It was on Florida time. So they weren't in perfect days. Sometimes you had to go the next day and pull it back to the day before because it hit midnight or something. I don't know. But anyway, so I wasn't physically doing those in Paris. And some of your comments, I could tell that's what you thought. So I corrected most of you. Some of you, I just let it go because I thought I'm just going to tell everybody when I get, that I did it at home. And it was in real time. It happened exactly for you as it happened for me. It was just not, I just didn't edit in Paris. I edited in Florida. That's it. So let's go over a few things. Number one, I did all the packing videos. How did I pack? How did I do? Did I pack the right amount? I have to say I packed perfectly. This is probably the first trip where I literally wore everything in my suitcase except I had thrown in a black skirt that I didn't wear. I packed to perfection. I packed exactly what I needed. I did pack extra scarves that I didn't wear every scarf, but I packed just the right amount of clothes. And I thought I was packing a little bit extra, which I did. However, that was kind of nice because some days, like the day we ran across Paris to get to the apartment, to get the passport, to get back to Chanel, we broke a sweat on that day, so we were able to change clothes. So it was good that I had a few extra t-shirts that I could change into, and I wore everything I packed. So I was really proud of that. As far as the plane goes, I did not use my blanket on the plane, even though it was in my carry-on. I used my scarf instead. It just wasn't cold on that plane for some reason. What I didn't change into my lounging sleeping clothes. Bleh. Whoa. That's bad. I literally forgot I had them with me. They were in a Ziploc bag, and they were black top, black bottoms, squished down, and they were in the bottom of my carry-on. And you know, on the plane, it's dark and it's cramped and you can't see everything you have with you, you know. So I forgot I even had them. So I didn't change. What I did do for the first time is I did remove all my makeup, moisturized, and then tried to go to sleep. I wasn't that successful at the sleeping, but let me tell you, girls, what a difference in how I felt when it was time to get off the plane. 45 minutes before landing, they kind of bring the lights up because you've been flying all night long, right? They kind of bring the lights up, and I quickly put on my 20-minute under eye thingy. We both got water. We put our emergency thing in and drank that down. So we were pepped up there. I took my things off, and I had this mirror with me like this with the little thing so I set it on my tray table. I did a light makeup, brushed my hair, and I felt like brushed my teeth, and I felt like $1 million. Taking my makeup off on an overnight flight was fantastic. I recommend it highly. No one sees you and no one cares, so don't worry about it. So it was great. That was probably my favorite new thing I did on this trip. What else? Let's see. My carry-on where the handles broke off, it survived the trip. That was kind of funny. Okay. Another thing I wanted to say about the videos and the trip. First of all, it was obviously a fantastic trip. I thank you all so much, again, for watching and commenting and just loving it. You truly saw Paris through my eyes. But you have to understand something. I am 100% passionate about that place. I am passionate about French things and the French way and the French icons and the French fashion and everything about it. I am in love with it big time. So if you go to Paris, you might not have quite that experience because I go there loving it. I went there loving it before I got off the plane my first year. So my attitude is totally open to everything. But if you go there and you think it's going to be like America or like your country, whatever country that is, it's not going to be. And you might get frustrated. You can get frustrated in that city. It's hard. It's tiring. It's big. Things are close, but they're not as close as you think. It's a long walk sometimes. You see the building right there in front of you and you think, let's walk, let's not ride the metro. And then 20 minutes later, you're still walking because it looks closer than it is. I don't know what it is about that city. But you definitely saw it through my eyes, which are totally rose-colored glasses. I've got them on the whole time I'm there. I absolutely love it. But I just wanted to kind of say it's not an easy vacation. It's not relaxing exactly if you're trying to see everything. Now, my husband and I killed ourselves the first 2 times we went seeing everything. Then we went 3 times where we just laid around in the parks. We didn't go in a museum. We ate, we slept, and we sat. And that was awesome. But this trip, we were back to killing ourselves because we wanted my mom and dad to see everything, okay? So that's why it looks like we're running around, which we were. My mom and dad did say, stop running, you're running everywhere. We didn't really realize we were doing that, but we do have a pace, I guess, when we get there that we just automatically go into. And when you're down in the metro, everyone's walking fast. I don't know if you noticed that on the videos, but they're walking fast. So we did slow down, and that was good for us too because we were tired too, you know, but we did slow down for my parents to enjoy it more. Let's talk about comments I got about the French being rude or they didn't like some people said they did, you know, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I have to say, in my experience, I think Scott added up and we've either been in Paris 58 or 68 days. I can't remember which one. In the last few years, we have never once been treated rudely by a French person. Now, there have been occasions where there's been a language barrier. Things like this that I don't think as Americans we understand. If I went to a French person on the street and I asked them, Where is the metro stop Franklin Roosevelt? Okay. If they didn't speak English, they would not know anything they would know the word metro, but Franklin Roosevelt, no. Because when you get on the metro and they announce the stop, they something Roosie. They call it something Roosie. Okay? So it's not that the French are rude. A lot of times I think it's a language barrier. They will give you a blank stare. But I've heard many times, and a French man, a waiter told me on this trip, we feel uncomfortable speaking English as you feel uncomfortable trying to speak French. I feel like an idiot whenever I try to speak French. They feel the same way unless they're totally bilingual, like the guy on the boat. Wasn't he fantastic? But so a lot of times I think it's a language barrier. But as far as how we've been treated in restaurants and everything, perfect. Everybody is so kind. If you didn't understand something in the menu, you can ask. It's no big deal. Normally, Scott and I don't ask a ton of questions, but this time we asked more because my dad would be wondering something or my mom would wonder something. We would ask, treated like kings and queens. I can't say enough. Now, they do have a certain way of doing things. They have a certain way of setting the table. And when you order, they reset the table. And when they bring your wine, if you've moved your fork before your meal gets there, they're going to put your fork back where it goes. It's just the way they do things. They want it correct. And to them, it's correct. And it is correct for France. So if that kind of thing annoys you, don't go. If slow service annoys you, don't go. That's one of my favorite things about it, is the service is slow, so you relax. And they never bring you the bill until you ask. So you can sit there all day if you want. Those are the things that I love about that city. So that's just a few things to know. The only other thing I would say is Paris changed my life, and it changed my husband's life when we went for our 25th wedding anniversary. The one thing I would say is if you're going to Paris for the first time, please, please don't take your kids. Go with someone that you love. Don't go with a friend. Go with someone that you love. I think you can't help but fall in love again in that city because it is so beautiful. It is so feminine. It is so artistic. It's just, I can't say enough. But I have said other things about that and about the apartment in some other videos I did a couple years ago. I'm going to link those below. I'm trying not to repeat myself too much, but I will talk about the apartment now because I got tons of questions about that. I have the whole story of how I ended up choosing an apartment in one of the videos I'm going to link below. But the short story is, I thought Paris was going to be so expensive that the first time my husband and I went, I chose to stay in an apartment because I envisioned us cooking in the apartment. That did not happen. But it's nice because you can make your coffee in the morning. Scott always goes to the bakery and gets fresh croissants and brings them back. They're $1 a piece, €1 a piece. So that part's fantastic. Sometimes we would bring food back into the apartment to eat dinner. So that does save a little bit of money, but I wanted an authentic French experience too. The company that we rent from is ParisVacationApartments.com. You can look them up. They have sold our 3 favorite apartments that we've stayed in that are so, so romantic. They've sold all 3 of them. I mean, I just want to kill. We can't believe we can't go back to those original apartments that we stayed in. But this apartment was fantastic. This was the biggest apartment we've ever stayed in. We've usually been in a studio because it's just been Scott and I. This was a 2-bedroom. It was massive. I mean, it was big. And so, yeah, you saw it. It was fantastic. And the location was fantastic. It was in walking distance of so many things. The river, the Notre Dame, the Louvre, a lot of different, Saint-Germain-des-Prés, which is a great neighborhood, tons of restaurants everywhere, lots of shopping. It was a great location, but you pay more for a good location. So when I think the first year we rented from there, we were in Montmartre, we rented from this company. I think for 8 days, we only spent $1,100. That's just crazy. It was fantastic. Now their prices have gone up over the years, and you will pay more for location, 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 which is where we were on this trip. The apartment was beautiful. I can't say enough about it. It was great. So that's the apartment update. What else did I get questions? Oh, a couple people wanted to see an up-close look at my Chanel earrings. I happen to be wearing them today upside down. I love it like that. So that's a close-up. You know, they look really big when you're close up, but if they just peek out from behind your hair, they're not that big. But the smaller ones, the C's are so small that you just can't even tell that they're C's, you know. Now, these can also be worn the proper way, which is like that, okay, because the post of these is right there. So this is really the way they're intended to be worn. But, yeah, I like them the other way too. Okay, I was going to tell a little bit more really quickly about the Chanel day. It was crazy. The second day we were there, we went to Galeries Lafayette, which is that big department store that's so gorgeous. And I went, while my mom was shopping for her Longchamp bag, I went into the Chanel little, not booth, but they have like rooms, like different rooms for the higher end things. So they had a Chanel room, they had a Dior room, they had a Louis Vuitton room. So of course I had to go look at all that stuff. So I did ask in the Chanel spot if they carried the classic double C earrings. And she said, no, we don't have them. But she gave me the address of 2 that would carry them, possibly in Paris, 2 other Chanel shops. So tucked it in my purse, and that was it. Went over to Louis Vuitton. I looked again at the Ava purse that I kind of thought I wanted, but it was just too long on my body. So I found the one that I got, the favorite PM. But Scott wanted to get it, and I said, no, no, I don't need this. I don't need this at all, okay? So we went on about our trip, and I wasn't dying to go to Chanel because I thought the earrings had gone up so much in price that I wasn't going to buy them. So the next to the last, and he did tell me 2 or 3 times, I'm going to go get you that Louis Vuitton bag. And I said, no, I don't want to get it. I don't want to spend the money. And he's like, well, I'm getting it for you. And there was a Louis Vuitton shop, another one, around the corner from our apartment. We passed it every day. And he said, I'm going to go in there and get that purse. If you don't go with me, that's fine, but you're getting it. I don't know why my husband likes so much to buy me things. I guess I'm lucky, but sometimes it's expensive. But anyway, back to the Chanel saga. We took my parents to the museum d'Orsay, dropped them off right at the door, and we said, we'll be right back here. We'll meet you under the elephant in 4 hours, right? So off they went to the museum, and we just wanted to go walking. That's what we love to do. So we we walked to the Pont Alexander, which again, you see it in the distance, you think it's so close, and it took us 30 minutes probably to get to it. So we're on our favorite bridge, and everything's wonderful, and I look across the bridge, and there is the Grand Palais, so I knew that the Champs-Élysées was on the other side of it. Now, that is my least favorite street in Paris. I don't like the Champs-Élysées. It's too commercial. But we ended up on that street. I don't know how many times this trip. It was kind of funny. Every once in a while we'd say, here we are, back at the Champs-Élysées. So I said, Scott, do you mind if we go over there and look in the Chanel shop and see if they have the double C earrings and just see what they cost, And he said, fine. So I got my little card. It was in my purse. I got it out. We thought we saw the address, thought we found the street. We were on the totally wrong street, blah, blah, blah. We finally got to the Chanel shop, and first pair of earrings she pulled out, these were it. These were the ones, and they were a great price. They had not gone up in price since I had looked at them a couple of years ago. So I was thrilled. Well, maybe they had gone up a little bit. I don't remember. So I was so excited, and she went to get the thing and write up the ticket, and she asked us for our passports. We didn't have them. Or even the passport number. We didn't have it with us. A, we were not planning to go to the Chanel shop, and B, we forgot that you kind of needed that. At Chanel and Louis Vuitton, you must have it with you if you want the tax refund, which I'm going to do a video on luxury items in France in another video and explain that. But we didn't have our passport with us. And she said, I'll hold the earrings for a couple of hours. And I said, great. So we had to run practically to the metro, back to the neighborhood, down the street and around the corner to the apartment. We went up in the apartment, we're sweating, we changed clothes, we drank some water, we grabbed our passports, we went back out, we went around the corner all the way down to the metro stop, down in below, walk, get on the metro. We were exhausted. And the reason we were running is because by now it was almost time to be back to the museum and meet my parents. We made it to the Chanel shop. They packaged everything up, It was hilarious. Got the tax thing, and left. Got to the museum. We were about 10 minutes late because we were literally running because we were so worried about my parents wondering where we were. So that's what happened there and why I was so exhausted. Well, then it's lunchtime. And my mom says, well, we never had the pizza on the Champs-Élysées. Seriously, we went back to the Champs-Élysées. We had our favorite pizza. Little side note there. The French just have a certain way of doing things. I've told you how they set the table, and they'll move your fork, and they'll put the certain glasses, and then if you have an extra glass, God forbid, they take it away, And so we got to the pizza place. We wanted our favorite pizza that we've gotten there since the first year we went to Paris, shrimp. They put shrimp on this pizza. It's so good. It's not on the menu anymore, okay? So I asked the waiter, we're looking for the shrimp pizza, and he points to the seafood pizza, which had clams and crab and shrimp and squid. And we said, no, the shrimp pizza. And he was just like, he didn't really understand. So I said, okay, we want this pizza, but just with the shrimp. Leave everything else off. And he gives you, and they give you a blank stare because it's like, that when you try to change something on the menu in France, forget about it. It's not happening. It's not Burger King. You cannot have it your way, right? He leaves. He comes back. It's not possible. It's not possible. And I'm like, really? Just put shrimp on? I didn't say anything else. I said, okay, fine. We'll have the such and such a pizza. We changed pizzas, which, by the way, was fantastic. But we didn't get our shrimp pizza. But guess what? I have a way to get French shrimp pizza at home, and I'm gonna do a video on it because it's so good. You have to know about it. Okay, so why was I telling you all that? Oh, we had our pizza, we had our wine. It was fantastic. We got up to leave, and Scott says, "We're going to the Louis Vuitton store right now. You can go with me, or you can go without me." Well, deep down inside, I was afraid he was going to get the wrong bag because it comes in more than one size. So I said, "Okay, we'll go," and that's what we did. We went straight from the pizza place across the street it's on the same side of the street, to the Louis Vuitton store, and I got my purse. And that's how that all happened. So I don't know why I just told you that whole story. I have no idea, but that's how it went down. That's how I ended up with it. I think that's it for the recap video. I hope I answered all your questions. If you have any more questions about anything, just ask. Also, please look down below if you want to know more about the apartment, if you want to know more about saving money in Paris on everyday, just not spending a lot while you're there. There's a video on that. And I think there's one other video I did like 2 years ago. So I will link those down. And if you want more information, again, I'm going to do the luxury item video. If you would like for me, I have shown my different Louis Vuittons that I have. I feel like now I have a collection. It's weird. It's like tattoos. You get one and you just can't stop, right? But I have a large, a medium, a small, and a tiny. So I have 4. I can do like a literal review on each of them in one video if you'd like to see that and just know why I chose what I chose. I don't know. I'm obsessed with Louis Vuitton. I watch everyone's videos. So if you're like that and you want to see it, mention it below and I'll certainly do that for you because I just love talking about Louis Vuitton. I have a new series coming up. So excited. Every time I go to France, I am totally, totally inspired. I am just inspired by every single cobblestone, every single building, every single piece of trash that blows by. Every girl, I watch all the women. I focus on what they're wearing, how they look, why they look so good, why some of them don't look so good. I pay attention to couples. Why are they always kissing? It's just fantastic, and I'm always inspired when I get home. And I have been newly inspired this time. And I'm going to do a whole series on it. I'm going to change further. Since every time I come back from Paris, I change things. The first time we went, I came home. I bought all new fresh towels. I started buying fresh flowers. I started having a bottle of wine in the house all the time, which we never had before. Boy, that really changed. I just started fixing different kinds of meals in the evening, just simpler food. And every time I go, I bring something back inside of me that I want to change and make my life more French. And so that's going to be my new series. It's probably not what you're thinking, but it's going to be fantastic because I'm super, super excited. I always read a book while I'm there, a French type of book. And that inspired me too. And I found a new YouTuber, not new, she's been on a couple years. She inspired me more than anything. I watched her videos every single night in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep because it was way earlier in Florida. And I will share all that with you. And yeah, I'm excited. It's just all French now on my channel. And yeah, I'll mix some other ones in. If you don't like French stuff, stay tuned. I will do some makeup stuff occasionally. So that's it. That's my recap. Again, ask questions, comment below, subscribe, thumbs up, everything. Whatever you want to do, you can do. So talk to you later. Bye.